He who flees the light. Oh, that song getting me pumped up here to start the streak. Our third episode, the third month of the streak in the chain. This is the streak. I'm your host as always, Drake Riggs, here for another trip down memory lane. If this is your first time here, welcome. Or if you're coming back, welcome back. As we're keeping this at about a 2-week bi-weekly cycle for our trips down memory lane, but He Who Flees the Light by Calabrese, our band for this episode. That was the first song I heard by them. I believe it was through Spotify Discover in the year 2023. And man, I just fell in love with them right away. I was like, this is a banging ass, kind of modern day punky type feel, type vibe to it. And yeah, their kind of entire catalog embodies that. What horror vampire punk is kind of what they consider themselves as. And if you're watching here on YouTube with us, gotta be in the all black today. So, Calabrese, the show that we saw in September 2023. My oh my, what a time that was. That month specifically, of course, this was right after the explosion. I don't know how you would describe the month before. It was kind of like, yeah, I mean, I guess it was kind of like a nuclear bomb going off and resetting everything in a starting from scratch positive way. Even though, of course, nuclear bombs wouldn't necessarily do that second part, but a reset, you know? And September of 2023 was really, yeah, just like, I don't want to say it was the biggest month of rediscovery and rebuilding, but it was a big one. It was the first full month of doing that. So having fully kind of digested Calabrese, and I want to say it was pretty recent from actually when I discovered them to when I saw them. I want to say it was maybe July-ish when kind of my love for music was really reigniting, and then just listening to them daily. And I remember one day where I was like, I'm just gonna listen to everything that they got. These guys are awesome, and I love the feel, the vibe that they put out. Like, for being a horror band, if you will, or, you know, a vampire gimmicked, vampire themed band. I don't know, just something about that punkiness is really fun, and almost like doesn't feel fitting. Like that's not the right way to put it. I don't know. I feel like I just wouldn't imagine if you just were to listen to their sound, you might not imagine them looking like and being how they do. I guess you'd have to be kind of uneducated, or how they are, not how they do. You'd have to be kind of uneducated in music to maybe disassociate, because they do have a very punky sound to them, don't they? As we listen to Evening here. So, I don't know. I'm just talking shit at this point. But yeah, September 2023, that was quite a month of rediscovery and rebuilding personally. A lot of little things that were incredibly impactful to me. Getting out of the relationship, and I mean rebuilding in many senses, not just mentally and all that, but financially, from having no money and like, oh wow, now I gotta build back up after all that. And so just little things, like I remember getting myself a new lamp in my room, because the lamp that I did have, I think I had relocated to kind of my my workspace that I had, or just kind of put it. I think it was in another room. Yeah, that was what happened. So there was no room and there was no light in my like sleeping space, which never really bothered me, and I didn't find ultra necessary, obviously, since there was an overhead light on the ceiling and all that. But a very, very little thing, and something I never just even... An incredibly cheap thing to get, right? Like fucking... I think it was $10 was the lamp that I did end up getting. But essentially, just throughout that entire time when I was kind of stuck in that relationship, I never put... Just completely disbanded and abandoned myself entirely in terms of taking care of myself, or spoiling doesn't feel like the right word, but you know, doing some things for me, whether it's getting a fucking little lamp for your room or not. And so when I did that, it was just like, wow, I think I just got myself something for the first time in fucking like 2 years. This is weird. And it, you know, just a $10 little lighting space, or something to light up the space. So it's kind of, it was also very kind of poetic in that sense as well. You know, lighting up the darkness, or adding light to where there was all this darkness, you could say. So it was very metaphorical, you know, connecting the dots a bit there. I think there's a symbolism that got me a little bit emotional about it, but it sticks with me now. It's stuck in my memory. I always remember getting that lamp for the first time after doing something for myself, which again, that's a small scale version of what the whole streak is, you know, because the streak is entirely for me and spoiling myself in that sense with all these shows and the musical escapes. And I also got a new monitor with that for working and all that. So yeah, that was the part of just being like, okay, we gotta really channel and hone in on doing this kind of thing. Getting myself a new camera as well, which got scammed in that process too. So it was like, all right, well, just be fucking smarter in general, dude. I got scammed in the process of getting my camera. Which I still feel so incredibly stupid about, but it was just kind of that eagerness of getting it, which I think it was just for story's sake. What is the one app? What is that one? Is it Let Go? Not Let Go. Let me see. I'm going to look at my phone here real quick. What is that? OfferUp. OfferUp, where people can... That's not the auction one, but... You can put stuff up for sale on there. It's kind of like its own dedicated Facebook Marketplace type of app, right? I was looking all over the place for kind of some good deals on video cameras for my media work. And I believe it was on OfferUp. I found one that was, it was something... I don't think it was the camera I wound up with, but it was going to be... It was like half price. So there's a little bit of sign. Maybe not a half price. It was like $600, and the original camera was $800, because I think I was getting just like an upgraded, better version of the one that I had at the time, and I don't have it anymore because I ended up getting a better one for a good deal from a real person, actually on Marketplace. And I still have that one to this day, which is doing me good. The old Canon, was it the XF 405? I can't see the title on it from here where I'm sitting in the current studio. But anyway, yeah, I was just stupid about that and paid them before they got it to me, and they sent a fake shipping label receipt, fake shipping receipt with a blatantly fake address on it. Oh my goodness. I don't know. I'm sure that's in my phone somewhere still. I don't know how I would find it, but that would be hilarious to read off for you guys, because it would show you kind of the, I don't want to say innocent, but maybe naive and clumsy, or, you know, just the loose not thinking very well state that I was in and getting out of, trying to get out of, and then still just getting overly excited to focus on myself and get myself some new things to feel better. But yeah, because I remember I ended up going to September was the first month, because this was, well, I guess it was back to back. In September, I went to cover events in Florida and Las Vegas. We went to a Game Bred boxing, or Game Bred bare knuckle, excuse me. That was the Jacksonville one. And UFC Noche 1. That was back-to-back weeks, and that was my first time traveling since everything happened at the Paul Diaz event. So there was about a month and a half time, I think, between traveling again for the first time. And felt a little bit weird. There wasn't, like, obviously any relations to any of that stuff, but it was like, all right, we're doing this. We can still do this. There's nothing to worry about now. You know, there's no... As stressful as traveling can be for people, if you're just afraid of airplanes or the timing of coordinating things that go along with travel, it's stressful enough as it is for some people. And I used to be kind of that way, but eventually you just kind of grow out of it, I think. Depending. Maybe not everybody, but it's all experience, right? But when you have just unbelievably heavy anxieties weighing on you all the time about, like, oh my god, does this person need anything, or am I gonna get requested to do something, or am I gonna be needed, or there's just so many things like that consistently playing in my head. Not even when I was traveling, but when you're traveling, it's way fucking worse. Like, okay, I'm gonna turn my phone off for the flight, and so I'll be down for a little bit. Hopefully nothing happens in that stretch. So it was a little bit freeing to be like, all right, we can go and do this without worrying now. And I remember, I think I had to rent a camera because of the scam situation. I had to rent one for the Florida trip, and then, yeah, it got a little too expensive to keep for the Vegas one, so I went to Vegas without one. But, both great trips, both very fun, very needed. UFC Noche, of course, that first one. That was, the first and last time. Yeah, the first and last time. Shout out to my man, Alex Behunin at MMA Mania. The first and last time we covered a UFC event together, like as co-workers. We've covered Bellator before and PFL. But that was our first and only UFC, which was really cool, especially for the timing of that. Alex is my boy, so great memories there. Awesome time. Crazy night, you know, that main event. Shevchenko Grasso 2, the draw. Awesome fights. And then honestly, the game bare knuckle event, pretty blurry on that one. Pretty blurry on that one. Just because, like, those shows, those bare knuckle events are so... They're fun in the moment, but they just don't stick with you. You know? At least for somebody in my position, I guess. I'm sure it's different for maybe other people who aren't just living and breathing combat sports every single day. But... And then there was... My cousin's wedding was also the same month, so there was a lot just going on right after that. And, you know, then you're talking to family, and they're asking how things are because there's been enough time for word to spread about, oh boy, this big old traumatic thing just happened to him. And, you know, I wasn't quiet about that anyway. I was very public with it, as I wanted to be, so I think that was a great idea. That was a great way to do it. I will always stand by that. Of course, as we're being open and putting it all out there each and every day, and the more that we do the show here, and the more that I add entries into my book and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, that was kind of there were a lot of emotions with that, not just for me, but being happy for the cousin, and then seeing all these people also that you hadn't seen in many years. There's a whole lot of things that kind of hit me that month, but worked out well, and we kept the streak going early for the third month. Oh, and I guess I should also add, it was just like, I don't know how to describe this properly, but when you're kind of going through that rebuilding stage and, giving yourself a dedicated amount of time, which you should always do, by the way. I don't know, at the same time, you're just kind of like, well, even though I'm going to therapy, I still want people to talk to or to distract myself. And I'm feeling good and comfortable enough to where, whatever happens. Let's see, kind of thing. Explore a little. So, with all that kind of combined in mind, I think I might have jumped on just one dating app from what I remember, which was the old Bumble, the old Bumble Hive. So there's a lot of ways to still look at that in terms of too soon or not, and I don't necessarily think it was, because if it was, I wouldn't have done it in the first place, because that's kind of where I was at. And I remember even talking about that in therapy, about like, you think this is maybe too soon? It's been a month after this traumatic thing, and I just felt like I was making so much good progress and this weight being lifted off of me that, no, yeah, we're doing good. Of course, we're still in the process of getting back to a great spot, but I felt like I was making such great strides. So let's just see. See who's out there. There are people out there? Wait, what? I thought I was gonna be here with this one person forever, and then they stole it all away from me. So that was also therapeutic, though, to have kind of that experience of like, oh yeah, well, look there are people out there as well. So that was also a part of the month. A lot happened. A lot more happened in this September 2023 than I guess I kind of realized. But then it brings us to Calabrese on September 21st of that month at the Coffin Club in Portland. My goodness. So with all that had been happening in the 2 years prior, I ended up getting to a point where I wasn't going out as much as I had in previous years. So I don't know. I still don't know when the Coffin Club became a thing, but it was on a pretty popular street, kind of across one of the many bridges in Portland. I kind of right off the corner a little bit, where an old place called Dig-A-Pony used to be, and I don't know what Dig-A-Pony is now. But if you're from Portland in the area and you're listening to this and you know what I'm talking about, then you'll know where I'm talking about. I don't remember the street name. I've never been good with remembering street names or things like that. But point is, never had been to Coffin Club before. I think it was a newer place, is a newer place. I mean, this was years ago now, so it's not so new anymore. But it's under 10 years old, I'm pretty sure. And as you can imagine from the name, very, very spooky themed, gothic. Perfect. Absolutely perfectly vampiric vibes to it for a band like Calabrese. So I was like, okay. When I got there, it was just its own little party. It feels like Halloween every single time you go there, which is fucking amazing. It is so coolly mapped out. They have like 3 bars in there, an underground dance floor, obviously a stage for bands. It is very cool. I guess they have 2 stages, actually, now that I think about it. There's one right when you walk in, and then there's the one underground with the other bar. And then there's even an outside, I think, with food trucks. The Coffin Club fucking rules. So here's my endorsement for the Coffin Club. If you haven't been there, definitely go there just to check it out. It might not be your vibe. I fully understand that. Because, again, it is Halloween every single day there. And, of course, I'm a little bit biased with that one. But yeah, missed the Coffin Club. Very cool place. Awesome to go there for the first time for a show like that. And I have been there a couple times since, for sure. Very fun place. But we get there like early. I don't usually like to get there where I have to wait around for shows, depending on the openers, right? Like if I'm like, oh, I got to see every band that's playing, then I will get there. I'll try to get there 30 minutes at the earliest, because if you kind of know what you're doing, you're experienced enough, and you want a certain spot in a venue, you can work your way there within a certain amount of time, you know. If you want to get in the front, I always kind of try to sneak around the sides. Not sneak, but don't just go like right through the middle of everyone. You can be that kind of asshole if you want to be, but if you kind of go around the sides and work your way, I've noticed works best historically. But yeah, I was just kind of eager, I guess, to check this place out. So I think I got there maybe like an hour early, which was fine because they had the drinks and all that ready to go, extending around the line and where the place was, which some places might not have always. But get down there, get right in the front. There, it's like, because of how the Coffin Club was laid out down there, and it's so big and open with the dance floor and the double bars, and it's split very oddly where people had a lot of space to do things and activities while they waited or whatnot. So it was really, there was nobody just kind of filling up the floor for where the stage was, and I got right up there and was right next to one of the speakers. And this is a very important part of the story and experience. So right dead center in front, chilling, before Dead Animal Assembly Plant comes on, which they were pretty crazy and a fun time. Had never heard of them, but they were a time. Very fitting. Followed by Haunt Me, which I will say, not necessarily my cup of tea in that sense. I say this respectfully, but they were kind of just like Halloween background music, if you know what I mean. That's kind of the stuff that they were playing. It was just kind of, it sounded like something you would hear for sure in a vampire horror film, just like in the background during a transitional scene maybe. I don't know. There just wasn't much to them. And that's okay. Be what you are. Own it. It's a nice, calm, night, spooky vibe a little bit. But then Calabrese gets on, and I'm fucking pumped. I'm so excited. Cannot wait to hear them play all my favorite songs and whatnot. But man, I couldn't have been more bummed. I couldn't have been more bummed. I hate to say this so much because I was so excited for the show, but it was bad. It was not good. It was not good, and I do not believe it was them. But I don't think the Coffin Club, at least that night, was not a great venue to hold. I don't know if it's just music in general or Calabrese, because and then I say this to myself like, well, I mean, Haunt Me and Dead Animal Assembly Plant, they sounded pretty fine. But then Calabrese gets on, and you're like, oof, something isn't right here. But it was, I talked about how loud Wallace? What am I trying to say? How loud Wallace was on the first installment of the streak here. But Wallace was like a pure volume thing, whereas with Calabrese, it was just off. The instrumentals were off. Like you could barely hear the singing. And what is it? Bobby, I think, is the lead singer. Apologies, I'm not totally sure what his name is, but Calabrese's singer, you could like not hear his vocals at all. They were incredibly drowned out. And again, So here's the thing, right? I was right next to the speaker in the front, which in hindsight probably didn't help either. It wasn't great, but it got to a point where I was like, all right, I'm grinning and bearing it. I'm trying my best to enjoy this. The instrumentals, they sounded great, actually. They sounded really good. They were very loud, but the vocals were completely drowned out, and I was like, let me get away from the speaker, see if that helps. And even then, like when I went towards the back a little bit, it still wasn't the best. And I listened to some of my phone videos, the recordings I did, and they sound better. I will say they certainly sound a whole lot better than where I was, but still not ideally perfect necessarily. So it was really upsetting. I think I fucked myself a little bit with that positioning for sure, but no matter where you are in the front, I think if it sounds like that in that spot, even if I would have been like directly in the middle, it's still not going to be great, because then you're getting kind of hit from both sides of it. I don't know. It was really disappointing, and I don't think it was on them. They performed great as well, like in terms of the visuals and the stage presence. That was great. The songs were still fun and mostly good for what they are. Just in terms of the show aspect, I guess, just didn't land. And out of all the shows and all the bands that I've seen play throughout this stretch, this one still holds as like the worst one, and it fucking kills me because Calabrese, it does not deserve that, and they are so much better. But I'm also not gonna lie. But again, I don't necessarily put the blame on them. I do not think it was them. I blame the Coffin Club for that. And I was actually just looking at dates before this, and they will be coming to Memphis in, I think it was May. But they're coming here soon, so they're going to be at Growlers. I've been to Growlers twice in like the last month, so it's been great in there. The bands have been great in there, so I'm like, all right, this will be the test. If I see Calabrese again in a venue I know has good acoustics and sounds good quality in there with just the overall audio, that'll be the tell. But I really was disappointed by how it was. Pretty much blew out my left eardrum as well. Yeah, it was a bummer. It was a pretty big bummer. By the time it was over, I was like, God damn it. Oh well, at least we still got that in. Got to see a cool, I mean, it was great to experience the club for the first time and to see that was there, and you know, say that I got to see these songs performed more than I got to enjoy listening to them. But yeah, that was Calabrese. So I was really bummed to kind of talk about this one because it wasn't a great experience. It wasn't a great experience for the show itself. And again, they're a very, loud punk rock band, as we've been listening to here throughout this episode. So compared to like a band in Haunt Me that is not that is just complete kind of background dance music, I think that they will come out a lot more softly and nicely with the equipment and the stage and setting that the Coffin Club was providing. I guess. I don't fucking know. It just wasn't good. So, super unfortunate. Still bummed about that, but if I see them again and it's better, it will make up for it. And I do believe it will be, because Calabrese is fucking awesome, and you should all check them out if you have not before, and if you've been enjoying them throughout this episode. But I think we'll leave it there at a nice tidy 30 minutes again, as we've been pretty good at keeping these episodes around that mark. I think that's about the sweet spot. But you guys, I will say I have a good feeling that the next one, the October installment of the streak, October 2023, is still probably my favorite and the best of this run. So that one might go over the 30 minutes because we will be talking about You ready for this? Queens of the Stone Age, Viagra Boys, Jenny Beth, Motionless in White, Knocked Loose, Alpha Wolf, Baby Metal, Death Clock, and Jason Richardson, all in 1 week, mind you. And listing them out, I didn't realize how fucking crazy that is in hindsight, and seeing like what Knocked Loose has done since then, and all these other bands already incredible. What a fucking week that was. One of the undeniably greatest of my life. And I will leave it at that, because there is so fucking much to get into for the insanity of October 2023. Holy shit. That's the turning point. With taking everything considered from this episode, October 2023 was the big turning point to get us onto this path now. So, oh boy, I'm excited. Should we just go right into it right now? No, I'm not. I'm going to leave you guys with a cliffhanger. Oh boy, that was good. That was a good time. That was like the perfect sequel to the worst experience ever with a show, to the greatest lineup imaginable. Man. All right. Well, on that note, you guys, we will wrap it up here on the Valentine's Friday, actually, when I'm recording this, kind of ironically. So, hope you guys enjoy a good one. Loving yourself and any significant others you might have, but don't forget to love yourself, you guys. You need to have a happy driver to get you where you want to go. So, on that note, I appreciate everybody for listening. As always, if you did, whether you're on Spotify or YouTube, make sure to follow along with the streak, subscribe, add to your playlist, whatever it may be. You can follow me at DrakeRiggs _ on Twitter and Instagram for all the goods, whether it is in the MA world or with musical, personal things like such. But until the next one, look forward to the October 2023 episode, you guys. Like I said, Queens of the Stone Age, Viagra Boys, Jenny Beth, Motionless in White, Knocked Loose, Alpha Wolf, Baby Metal, Death Clock, Jason Richardson, all in 1 week, all in 1 episode. There's a doozy amount of stories for this one, and I gotta make sure to pick ones out to save for the book, and what to put in here and what to not. So, maybe we'll get a little crossover. We shall see. But until then, you guys, appreciate you so much. Thanks for hanging out and tuning in. And we will see you next time. Stay safe and stay sane, everybody.